All right. Hey, great Friday morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. It's Cesar Mascoro Jr. in with our 15 minutes to mastery that we do to get you some information, inspiration, and motivation. And I know it used to be that we do every single day, but we don't do it anymore, right? And so, with that being said, I just wanted to come in and say, great Friday morning. Let me, if I get myself on the screen, that would be even better because I got a great topic today that we need to talk about, man. We got to talk about urgency today, right? And I love the quote that we've got that are found from Leonardo da Vinci. It's a fantastic quote, right? And if you read it right there, because I can't read it, it's so small up on the screen right now as I drive, but the message behind it is simply it's not enough to know what to do. It's not enough to know how to sell. It's not enough to know what to say to buyers, whether it's on the phone or in person. It's not enough to know how to be a great whatever, even if it's not related to sales, if you don't actually do it, if you don't actually put in the work behind it, if you don't actually go out and execute upon it, right? And that just it was so powerful for me when I read that quote because how many times have we sat there thinking, hey man, I can do this and I can do that, but then we don't execute on it, and it's so frustrating because then we're there wondering what can we do differently? Why is this not working out for me? And I am trying to get this. There we go. Good morning. But why do most people not actually take action or execute on the things that they know they should be doing with regards to advancing their sales or getting more traffic or any of those things? And a lot of it has to do just with the fact that we lack urgency behind it. And when you hear the word urgency, I'm going to tell you guys myself when I first started hearing that in a professional setting, urgency. At first, man, it would almost give me anxiety, you know, and because to me, I thought that they were trying to tell me like it had to be chaotic, it had to be all over the place and this and that and doing 20 things at once until I figured out that that's not it at all. That's not it at all. Urgency, my friends, when used properly, is the difference maker between achievement and not, success and failure. And you're going to have failures even when you're being urgent. Say that. But when you're being urgent, you will get through the failures much quicker. Okay? When you're executing with urgency, when you live with urgency, when you operate with urgency, you start to become the architect of your life. You start to become we had our mastermind call on Wednesday. We had Claudia Campagna who came in as a guest, and she was talking about this. She used a great word. She said, "You become the engineer." Right? She described it as you become the engineer of your success when you start to operate in this manner. And that's so very true, right? Whether you want to describe it as being an architect, you're designing your own life, you're designing your own future, you're designing your own success, or you're engineering it. When you operate with urgency, you now start to create this sense of momentum that will start to move things forward for you, and things start to happen for you as opposed to things happening to you. But let's talk about urgency. What is urgency, right? And like I told you guys just a short while ago, I said, I felt at the beginning when I started surrounding myself with people that would tell me about being urgent and operating with urgency, I thought it meant chaos. To me, it felt like chaos. To me, it felt like you're wanting me to do, 10, 20 things at once, and I'm never going to get anything accomplished because I'm going to feel like I'm not going to be able to actually get those things done. And I know a lot of you folks out there think that that's what that means. But at its core, my friends, at its core, for all of you out there that are in manufactured home sales and just in general, it's for all of us, man. Okay. Urgency, I now understand, comes from knowing what you're after. When you know what you're after, when you know what purpose you're trying to fulfill, when you know what the game plan is, urgency then becomes the need to execute daily. You see, you're not going to get from A to Z in one day, as it relates to goals, right? As it relates to, if you wanted to drop, I don't know, if you wanted to drop 20 pounds, you're not going to start today, the 3rd of April at 8:17 Central, and drop those 20 pounds before midnight. It's just not going to happen. I mean, unless you, I don't know, unless you like chopped off a limb or something. I don't know. But the way that you act with urgency is today. If today you decided, hey, I'm going to drop 20 pounds, what you do is today you say, I'm going to drop 20 pounds by X date, right? And don't put it for a year, man. Let's say you give yourself 90 days. I'm gonna drop 20 pounds over the next 90 days, and then you put the plan together on the 3rd of April. This is what it's going to take for me to drop this, right? So what do I need to do today? I'm going to go on and find out what my BMI is. I'm going to find out what my metabolic rate is, and then I'm going to go ahead and drop my meal plan. I can get on Chat GPT or Claude or whatever and come up with a meal plan that's going to take for me to be able to achieve that based on the amount of activity that I can have daily. And then you start today. You see, you plan it out, you set the goal, you plan it out, and then you start today. You just took 3 steps today, the 3rd of April, to get you on that path. And then guess what? Tomorrow, you stick to that meal plan, you stick to your activity plan, and that's putting the urgency behind it and executing on it daily. See, that's how urgency works. Is not saying today on the 3rd of April I want to drop 20 pounds, but then you don't do anything about it today. You don't actually even decide when you're going to do that, and so you're setting yourself back when it comes to that stuff, right? Now, what about at work? So what do you mean? How do I operate with urgency at my office? Well, I'm going to give you guys something that I want you to execute upon today, the 3rd of April. Because most of you are probably off track on your goals, if you even had goals. Most of you have either forgotten the plan that you laid out, if you even had a plan. Because life gets in the way, man. One thing doesn't happen the way that you had it planned out, and then you kind of let off the gas, and then another thing doesn't work out, and then next thing you know, we convince ourselves to say, well, yeah, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. So, urgency is understanding what am I trying to accomplish? What am I trying to accomplish for the rest of 2026? What does that mean I have to do over these next 9 months that are left in the year? And these 9 months will pass like that. And you don't change the goal, but you change the plan. And so what I would tell you right now is today, this 3rd of April, this Friday, you need to get back to your goals. You need to sit in front of them, wrap your head around it, not for hours. You just look at that goal and say, okay, let me now engineer this over the next 9 months, over the next 9 months. And what's it going to take to do that? And that you got to look at what's my current pipeline. Do I have deals in the pipeline that are going to help this goal? And if not, you got to consider that pipeline zero. Look, the other thing you have to do is you have to set a baseline. You have to be very real as far as where you're at right now. If you've got deals, quote unquote, on the board that just are trash, you need to be real with yourself and say, hey, these aren't going to work, man. And so now I'm starting at zero this 3rd of April. So I've got to execute on this plan to ramp up and build momentum and build the pipeline so that starting in 60 days, 90 days from now, these homes are hitting dirt. And now that means I really got to crush it. So you come up with that plan, and then today you start to execute on the marketing that it takes to make it happen, on the amount of phone calls that it takes to make it happen, on the follow-up that you got to get done to make it happen. If you come in focused, disciplined, and truly committed to your purpose, to your goals, you can get a lot done in the amount of time that you're in the office, whether it's 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or 8 to 8. For some of us in retail, I know what those days were like. And I look back and I thought, had I been operating with urgency back then, I probably would not have been there 8 to 8 because I'd have gotten a lot more shit done. So going back to it, urgency really comes down to a commitment to the goal. Because if you're committed to that goal, to that purpose, a bigger purpose than you, and that goal has to be bigger than just paying your bills, ladies and gentlemen. But if you come in committed to that, and you execute on that plan, more than you don't, because there will be days that you don't. You got to stack wins on top of wins, and staying focused in, and staying true to yourself, and not lying to yourself that you got things done that you really didn't get done, that you didn't move the needle forward when you're trying to convince yourself that you did. When you operate with integrity for yourself, to yourself, as it relates to your goal, to your purpose, you will become more urgent because you will do the things that need to get done daily. Because that is what creates momentum. That is what moves people forward so much quicker, is the consistency. It's the consistency. And I can almost guarantee you that those of you that are not on track, that have not hit your goals, that are going backwards, are just not being consistent. And when you're not consistent, you're not urgent. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a sense of speed to urgency. We want to get things done now. I want to get things done as quickly as possible. I want to get this thing out of my way so we can move forward to the next thing, the next task. So you got to make sure that you're on things and you take a file to completion. That's one of the other key things, right? Understanding the different types of urgency for the different tasks that you carry out. And when you're in sales, okay, for those of you in sales, look, it's marketing, it's prospecting, it's making sure your deal's moving forward, and it's training. I learned those 4 things a very long time ago. Those are the 4 things. If you're in sales, that's what you should be focused on. Marketing, prospecting, moving your deals forward, and training. Training every single day, moving deals forward every single day, prospecting every single day, and it all starts with marketing. You cannot skip the marketing. If you don't have marketing, you will not have a business. Try to start a business without marketing. It doesn't work. So you execute on those 4 things daily. But when you are, marketing, I'm going to break these down for you in how it relates to being urgent to these things in your marketing. Okay, get your marketing done first thing in the morning. I would encourage you to try and get it done before you get to the office, because you know what happens when you get to the office? You got all the conversations going on. You got all the other people around you. You got all these distractions that keep you from doing it. You may have meetings in the morning. Who knows what? But it's dangerous to wait to get to the office to do your marketing. Well, Caesar, I got to get my kids up, and hey man, I completely understand. So then get your marketing done the night before you go to bed. But get your marketing done early. That would have to be having urgency with your marketing. Your prospecting, phone calls, right? Appointments that are coming in. How are we urgent when it comes to that? Well, that means that I am planning out who are those customers that I need to contact today that I can get off the fence. Who are my hottest leads? Who are those people that are on the bubble that just I know this just takes a little bit of a nudge, a little more convincing. I'm calling them today, but with a plan. I plan out what I'm going to talk to them about, not just follow up. And when you plan those things out and you're strategic about it, now you're operating with urgency because you're moving that needle forward. They're either going to move or you're going to get rid of them. Don't hold on to 100 leads, guys. That stuff takes up mental bandwidth. You've got to move lightly. You've got to have your top, 20 leads tops. That's it. And you should always be cycling those. And as far as when you have an appointment, how do we operate with urgency? Making sure that we're following our sales process in a manner that's going to lead to us closing the deal that day. I don't want to have to put them into a follow-up campaign. I don't want to have to mess with having to call them again to try and convince them to. No, if I put in the right amount of effort and I deal the way that I should and I make their buying experience the best one ever and I educate them, I'm the consultant for them. I give them a consultative experience. More times than not, they're going to move forward that day. But that's how you're urgent, by having that type of mentality. And as far as moving your pipeline forward, it's getting files done to completion. If I'm going to work on a file, get it all completed, get it complete so you no longer have to touch that file. But do it quickly, set times, make sure you're moving your buyers forward. And lastly, with your training, it's knowing what you're going to train on every single day and executing upon it. All you need is 20, 30 minutes a day. My friends, that type of investment in yourself will far outweigh anything else that you do, because the more you train, the better you will be. The more you train, the more confident you're going to be. The more confident you are, the more that you're going to be influential with people that you speak to on the phone, and more importantly, the people that are in front of you. Training, it's not a if I can or when I can or when you're struggling. It should be a daily thing. And by the way, that's why we got to drop the 20, 30, 40 pounds, right? And we just been training every day. But anyway, it's another story. So with that being said, my friends, urgency is not chaos. Urgency is simply understanding the goal, the task, the purpose that we're after, having the plan to execute it on, and executing on that plan daily, being consistently moving the needle forward, having strategically laid out what needs to get done today, the 3rd of April, tomorrow, the 4th of April, Sunday, the 5th of April. Sunday, take some time on Sundays and plan out your week ahead. When you start operating that way, that is urgency towards the goal. It's controlled chaos. It is not chaos. It's you making things happen for you instead of waiting for them to happen to you. It's you making those goals a reality instead of those goals not even being close to getting completed. And we all get into these moments in our careers, in our lives, where we just feel we are completely out of control. Believe me. I have felt that way here even in recent weeks. But you got to wrap your head around it. You got to understand where you're truly at, how far off you are, and then go and execute. You have far more control than what you think you do. And so, with that, my friends, I'm going to make sure that you guys go out there and operate with urgency. And because of that, I want to invite you to be a part of our community, our free community. Okay, we've got the MH Sales Mastery Network. It's on school. Okay, and we have so many different people that are a part of this network now that are in there that are giving folks so much information. We've got people in there from recruiters to manufacturers. We've got some lenders in there. We've got obviously sales consultants, community managers, all in there, sharing, learning, growing together. And you can do the same thing. So if you're wondering, like, man, where do I start to even train? That would be the best place. You got the link down there below. All right, get signed up for it. You'll get a free gift from us that'll be emailed to you. Okay, that will help you with your marketing. And we all build this network together. So go out there, execute, be a part of our network, and let's go move this industry forward because the opportunity is there for each and every one of you. We want to see all of you thrive. We want to see all of you succeed at the highest level possible. So wish you guys the best Friday as you start off this April. All right, first weekend of the month. First selling Saturday is tomorrow. So prepare for it. Act with urgency. Because, like I like to say, if you act with purpose, you will live in prosperity. You folks have a great day. And as always, my friend, can't wait to meet you.